Prep Beat. It's Thomas Lawrence and TJ Holmes. Today we're previewing Shasta at Foothill, our game of the week for Week 4 action. And Thomas, both these teams are coming in at 2-1 records. Both of them have offenses that are just flowing, that can really put up points. Both have a ton of playmakers that can really, like I said, put up points in a hurry.
Yeah, and you talk about playmakers. There's been no bigger playmakers so far, at least in the preseason, than Foothill's Ryan Pollard. And, a junior who's coming in as a bit of a question mark. They had confidence in the guy, but no one had seen him take, hadn't taken a snap at the varsity level. But so far, 8 touchdowns, no picks. At home especially, he's been really comfortable. He's completing about 75% of his passes, and he utilizes their weapons really well. You got 6'4" Cooper Janisevsky's down the sideline. Dennis Kepon, who's a great track athlete as well, really has shown his speed over the middle of the field, kind of running down slant passes. So for them, he's really been the man so far.
Yeah, and then I look at the other side at Shasta, and you got the big running back, over 200 pounds, Avery Hawley, leading the section in 9 rushing touchdowns this season. Then you got Casey Toombs at quarterback, who's really a dual threat, who can line up and run that spread option with Avery Hawley. It gives you a 2-back set back there. Normally that teams would get out of like an I formation or something, or a split back set. Shasta has it out of a 4-wide set, so that's dangerous and in that effect. But one thing I look at for this game is that Shasta's had 2 weeks to prepare for this game against Foothill. They had a bye last week. The last 2 times they've had a bye, they've won those games against PV. Plus, if you add in that they've been successful in their league openers, it was against inferior opponents in PV and Red Bluff. But they're able to get that job done and get those wins when they need to right off the bat in EAL play. Yeah,
and if this matchup is any indication, they're really going to need that rest. Foothill really big on the offensive and defensive lines. The one time we've seen Shasta in that matchup so far this year was against West Valley. They lost by 20 points. They really couldn't stop the run in that game, And Foothill's got a capable back in Jacob Shattuck, so if that big Foothill offensive line can open up some gaps, it might be trouble for Shasta.
Yeah, you mentioned one capable back in Shattuck. I look at another game. Brad Woods is coming back for Enterprise in the Red Bluff Enterprise game. He's had 2 weeks off because he didn't play last week, against CV because he rolled his ankle in the West Valley game. He'll be back. Might not be at full strength, but he'll be starting in this game. Jason Ravis had 3 touchdowns in his absence last week, filled in nicely. But you look at this game between Red Bluff and Enterprise, it's really bigger than people think. You got Red Bluff who's trying to be relevant again and get this ball rolling under Corey Hine. You got Enterprise who's trying to establish themselves as a D1 title contender, and if they put a statement in this game, that really shows that they're here to stay.
Yeah, and recent history has favored Enterprise. They haven't played since '09, but Enterprise has won the last 5 times they played. But when I look at this matchup, I look at Red Bluff's offense. They're running the pro formation, which is pretty unheard of in the North State, especially this year. At the high school level, and they got senior quarterback Garrett Sando has been very efficient so far. He's completing 2/3 of his passes. He's got 6 picks, no interceptions, and he's been protected really well. He's been sacked once all season. But Red Bluff has not seen a defensive front like Enterprise. They have a lot of power and a lot of speed there. They got linebackers who can rush and pass, like Nick Thomason and Jason Ravis, who you mentioned can rush the ball well earlier. They also got Skylar Ferguson and Brandon Evers, who's a very tall defensive end. He can put pressure on and swat the pass down. So it'll be really interesting to see. Red Bluff, it's really their first true test, and we'll see if they're actually able to protect Sandow against some of the northern section's tougher pass rushing.
Yeah, you mentioned Sandow quite a bit there. And I look at the other side with Zach Trueblood. I feel like this matchup, you kind of look at both teams have good running backs that can run the ball. I kind of want to look at the quarterback play because, Zach Trueblood had his best game as a starter last week against CV, threw for almost 300 yards last week. You look at Garrett Sandow, who can really run that pro style well. He likes to throw those quick outs and quick passes, like you mentioned. Skylar Ferguson and Brandon Evers can really swat the pass down. So it's going to come down to these 2 quarterbacks. It's really a good matchup, and especially that Zach Trueblood can play safety. So it's kind of that they are facing each other in this game.
Should be fun to watch.
Yeah, and both those games are really big. For more information on other games around the area and expanded coverage on these games, you can check out prepbeat.com for everything regarding those games and our scoreboard and video highlights.